Welcome back. So we've heard from a representative, as it were, of women in PDP who are calling for affirmative action, having 35% representation in leadership positions. And they're saying the men in the party are responsible for few women being in leadership position in the party. Don't forget, we're starting with the party this evening. But then, how about we hear from another member of the party's think tank, who this time represents the other bloc, the men in the party. So sort of get another perspective to this. And tonight on the program, Mr. Adamu Waziri, a former minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and a member of PDP Board of Trustees, joins us from our Abuja studio. It's great to have you on the program. Quite huge allegations have been laid on men within the PDP, and I'm sure you've been following the conversation. So let me just begin by asking, why is it that it appears as though your party's umbrella is not capable of admitting or accommodating at least 35% of women within leadership positions?
Thank you very much. Let me correct you ab initio. I'm not here representing the men. I'm here as a very high-ranking member of the PDP.
But you're a man, essentially.
Two, yes, the party does not segregate between males and females. We are all members of the party. Now, the umbrella is very big to accommodate everybody. But the issue I are trying to highlight is this matter of the provision of the Constitution of the PDP in Chapter 1, Section 5, Subsection 7, that says in party nominations, not less than 35% shall be reserved for women. That is a policy statement. It is the same thing as the Beijing Declaration of Affirmative Action. When the delegation from Nigeria came back from Beijing, what did they do? The next issue is to domesticate that provision. The PDP have not domesticated how to achieve the 35%. It is a statement without the strategy of achieving it. So, within this context, the women are free to vie for any post in the PDP, just like the men. A time will come, I believe, after this convention, when there is a need for the party to express in clear details which post in the leadership of the party is reserved for women to achieve 35%. Unless that is done, nobody can have the legal right to say this post is reserved for women or this post is reserved for men. As of now, only the position of the national woman leader is reserved for women. All other posts are open. And therefore, it is good for the women to aspire to the positions. When they aspire to the positions, the electorate, which will be at our national convention, will decide who is best for that thing, who has campaigned, who has been able to sell himself. That is very, very important. I want the women folk to understand that that is the issue. But if women start talking, we are equal to the men, we are more intelligent than men, we are also this and that, then you are missing the point, because you will be creating divisiveness in the party, which is not good for us.
Okay, so let me get this right. You just admitted that it is clearly written in the constitution of the party, that's in Chapter 1, Section 6, Sub 7. Let me just read it again. It says, in nomination for party offices, at least 35% shall be allocated to women. I think the wordings are clear. The term is shall. So that has a sense of it has to happen, as it were. So are you alluding that, yes, this is indeed in the Constitution, the party is breaking that particular provision, but eventually we'll find a way around it? Is that what you're saying?
No. Don't impute external words to our Constitution. Our Constitution says in nomination to party offices, not less than 35%. It doesn't say shall. not less than 35% should be reserved for women. That's what the Constitution says.
I'm reading word for word from your Constitution, Mister. I wonder where you're reading from, but I'm reading word from your Constitution.
I also have the Constitution in front of me.
So please read it. Please read it.
In nomination for party offices, not less than 35% shall be reserved for women.
Yes, that's what I said. Shall. That's the term. Shall.
No, you are misplacing the shall because you want to achieve a point. But
no, you just read out the shall. Mr. No, I don't think this is fair. You just read out shall.
Listen to me.
Please go ahead.
That provision is there in the Constitution. I admit it. Every member of the P admits that provision. What I'm saying that it has not been domesticated. It is a policy statement made in the Constitution. All right? And the party is a democratic organization where people that aspire to leadership under the platform of the party respects the democratic practice of submitting themselves to be voted for into any office. So what is happening now is that there is the need for the leadership of the party before now or after now to try now and look at the positions in the party and reserve them for women. That is very, very important. Because in other offices, from the ward to the states, reservations have been made for women. But at the national level, that has not been done. So this is something that cannot be cured in this convention. It can be cured at a certain point. Let me also recall, in the 2017 convention, there was an amendment to the Constitution whereby the one deputy national chairman should be a woman. But it was defeated at the convention.
Okay,
so
Mr. Waziri,
now
I thought
to revisit the situation.
Right. Pardon me. So I thought you wanted to clear that part of the Constitution because you came across as though I misquoted that section of your Constitution. But you read the same term, shall, which is the same thing I said. So do you agree that the word used there was shall?
Yes, I agree. The word used there is shall. It says not less than 35%.
Okay. So you agree
not less than 35%.
So you agree that the party constitution is clear on, I mean, what percentage of positions should be given to women, and that has not been achieved by the party, essentially.
That is true. It has not been achieved by the party because even now, the number of women vying for the post are not up to 35%.
Okay. So I want us to take it step by step because, I mean, we wanted to clear that part about the Constitution. So we are clear and the people watching are clear what the PDP's Constitution says regarding that. So for you now, you have tried to give a background as to what has been happening. In fact, you have sort of laid the blame on the women that they have not stepped up enough. And I referenced the fact that just 5 of the 33 NWC contestants are women. And you have someone vying for the position of Deputy National Chairman North, another for the position of National Women's Leader, which you have said is strictly for women anyway. You don't want to see a man as the National Women's Leader. Another for the Deputy Women's Leader, and then for the position of the National Auditor. So those are women vying for positions essentially. But when it comes to the, to the nitty-gritty, for you personally, let's take the position of the Deputy National Chairman North. Would you be supporting the female candidate?
No, really no.
Why? Why is that?
I will see anybody contesting as a contestant, and he needs to appeal for my votes. And if I find him or her worthy of that position, I vote for him or her. That is the truth. But if the provision of the Constitution says there shall be Deputy National Chairman North or Deputy National Chairman South reserved for women, I have no option but to follow that Constitution. I am saying it is very simple to make a policy statement, but there is the need to also clearly state the strategy of implementing that policy statement. In international affairs, that's what they call domestication of treaties. You have to domesticate it. So there is the need for the leadership of the party to look at the positions in the party and reserve up to 35% for women, so that ab initio, no man will purchase the form or declare interest That is very, very important. If that is not done, then everybody in the party must submit himself to the democratic process, canvass for votes, and be voted for.
So I wonder why has it been difficult, Mr. Waziri, if you could just shed some light? Why has it been difficult to domesticate this? Because this has been in the party constitution for, as long as the party itself. So, something as important as this, how difficult is it to domesticate it?
No, it has not been in the party constitution for that long. It came into the party constitution with the 2017 amendment. And the leadership of the party, past leadership of the party, especially the immediate leadership of the party, the onus was on them to try to domesticate this provision, especially when we're approaching convention. They have not done it, and I cannot stand in for them.
So, listening to Madam Minor earlier on, she talked about how much women participate in the build-up to elections, how they give their time, they rally support from the young and the old. In fact, she says in some cases the women even spend more than the men. And she wonders that with all of that, it shouldn't be so hard to say, fine, you have done all this work. And you know how party politics works. You give and sometimes you get to take. So you have sown. This is a time for you to reap. So, why don't you have such conversations that, these women have really worked hard for us. Let's set that aside for them and ensure that we do right by the women.
No, let me tell you, I have contested elections many times, and I've gone to mobilize women to vote for me. I know how important women are. I also know the need to involve more women. I also know that there is gender sensitivity in our affairs. I know it, and I'm for it. But what I'm saying is that the PDP is a democratic institution that submits itself to the democratic processes. You cannot just come and say this post that is to be contested by all PDP members, irrespective of race, creed, or gender, must be allowed for women. If you do that, you are infringing on the democratic principles as enshrined in the Constitution. So what I'm saying is that with the agitation that is coming now, there is the need for the next coming leadership of the party to domesticate how to achieve the 35% provision for women in the leadership of the party. Unless that is done, the women should feel free to contest against their male counterparts.
So looking at the candidates that have stepped up, 5 of 33, and none for the party chairmanship position, I wonder why. Perhaps you might want to interrogate that within the party. Why there's no woman coming up for the position of a chairmanship position? But how close would you say? First, do you think a woman can handle the affairs as a chairman of a party? Do you think a woman is fit to handle that? Let me just get that out of the way.
That's a hypothetical question. I'm not ready to answer it. I see a woman like a man, she can do anything, and Mrs. Maina said they even do it better than men. So, and in the history of the PDP, we have had women contesting the primaries for presidential nomination. Nobody has stopped them. In fact, the constitution or the provision of the party was even discriminatory by allowing women not to purchase the form, to be given the form free, to fill and contest. So, if they can do that, I think, if they can also contest for the office of governor, senator, House of Reps, and other members, they should feel free to contest the party officers now because there is a void. When
so for you,
remedied, then,
So for you, essentially, it's about competence. It's about survival of who fits the position, not trying to cede some position to certain, groups, women, youth, and the rest. Is that what your position is?
No. Don't impute the things into me.
Oh dear, this is quite difficult now.
It's competence. I am saying that you are talking of People's Democratic Party. By its name, it's supposed to be a democratic institution, and it must submit itself wholly to the democratic processes. Anybody who aspires to a position under the platform of the PDP must submit himself to the democratic process of offering himself for election, canvassing for votes, and winning the election or losing the election at the end of the day. This is how we must begin the conversation. Now, the second stage of the conversation is, should women now be encouraged, or should women now fight for their rights as they are doing so now? The choice is for the candidate. I, for one, need to look at all the variables to elect either a man or a woman to a party office.
Well, Mr. Adamu Waziri, it's been quite interesting speaking with you on this matter. It's been here and there at the same time, and I'm wondering what will be the position moving forward. But we'll keep our eyes on the PDP. I mean, your convention is coming in a few days, and we'll see how that process plays out. Will it be competence? Will it be affirmative action and the rest? But Mr. Adamu Waziri, former Minister of Interior, member PDP Board of Trustees, he says he's not speaking for the men. Thank you for joining us on the program tonight.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're not done just yet. We paid the APC a visit, call it oversight, if you will, as members of the Office of the Citizens of Nigeria. Well, the party is preparing for its national convention as well, but the date is still unknown. What we know for sure, however, is that there are lots of disputes to be resolved. Join us again.